Welcome back, Family Heads, to another episode of the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
This week, we are starting our spooky month of October.
Ooh.
We got all Halloween-themed, spooky-themed content coming at you through the rest of October. Ignore last week. I know that was technically October, but we were still in our first cycle of the new format.
Listen. You tried doing this in a 5-week October, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
But yeah, consider this the canon Halloween shebang.
Canonically, like
yes.
all you wiki editors right now who do have a wiki of our podcast, you're gonna have to type that in, make sure it's right. It's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, the Nate Roos sightings page is a little outdated, okay? So get on that.
We just reveal it it's actually me who's been doing it this entire time.
That made the entire wiki.
I kind of want to do that now as a joke.
Pretty good.
Just a fucking like family album wiki.
We're not that big yet, but we'll get there.
Well, hopefully.
But yeah, this week we are starting off with the two Halloween-themed albums that we both chose for each other. Starting off with the spooky, getting the spooky kind of vibe of October. So, Matt, what albums we got this week?
We have a pretty interesting collection. AJ brought me the album Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo.
Yep.
And then I brought AJ Opus Eponymous by Ghost.
Yeah, different albums, both, like genre-wise and content-wise, but...
And execution-wise, I would say, for sure.
But they do share a kinship in being spooky.
I just thought, like, with the one that I brought AJ, at least, this is one I actually, found over the summer, because I'm a huge fan of Ghost. Mm-hmm. I randomly just, got into them one day, and I've listened to, so many of their songs, all across the summer. My Spotify Wrapped is going to be horrendous. I'm so excited for it, but no, I really like Ghost as a band, and this album, even though it's not considered their best by any means, it has a small soft spot in my heart.
Yeah, that's fair. For what it was, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool time, very interesting. I heard this album before Matt brought on the show a year ago. I was listening to it at work, and because I heard good things about it, and it was fun to revisit it.
It is fun. It's a fun album.
All right, so Matt, what albums would you like to start with this week?
Ooh, let me think. You know what? I say let's start with Opus Eponymous first.
Sounds good. So Matt, we'll do a little history on that.
Yes, I will. A my J.
Yeah, let's not get carried away there. All right, bud. Reel it in.
Opus Eponymous. I don't know why I always read it with such Eponymous.
I mean, there's definitely a grandiosity in the album with the Italian opera singers
and the Latin.
Yeah,
the Latin is all over this album, and I love it. But I also kind of just try to mimic the way that Tobias Forge, who is the only real credited guy in the band, at least right now. There are some people who came out later and said oh, I was the bassist or whatever. Yeah. But given the fact that they don't really want to be affiliated with Ghost anymore, I kind of am just sort of going to keep them out of the way, out of respect for their wishes. But Opus Eponymous was released on October 18th, 2010. It was under the studios Manfire Recordings and White Light Studio. It's been regarded as a heavy metal, hard rock, doom metal, and psychedelic rock. They also should update it and say dance rock, without a doubt, because dance rock's sort of their forte, I would say. Sort of dark, doom, satanic dance. Macabre, if you will. It's about 34 minutes and 40 seconds in length. I don't know why I said about. That's exactly how. Just roughly, if I had to give
an estimation,
if I had to spitball here, it's under the labels Rise Above, Metal Blade, and Trooper Entertainment. It was produced by Gene Walker, which I just found out was a pseudonym made by the frontman Tobias Forge, which I don't know why he decided to do that. Maybe the label was who's it produced by? And they just needed a name. So that's what why would they need to do that?
I don't know. I mean, are they kind of like the Residents where they prefer anonymity? They don't want to make their public personas known?
I mean, maybe, but I'm pretty sure Tobias Forge has always been I'm the guy who's in the front.
Maybe he's just a silly, quirky guy.
The band's pretty silly, quirky. In the metal genre, they are pretty silly, quirky. But in terms of reception and ratings, it got a 4 out of 5 on AllMusic, a 4.5 out of 5 with Angry Metal Guy.
Oh, good.
I don't really know who the fuck that is, but
he's a legend in the scene, Matt. What are you talking about?
Don't gaslight me, AJ. A 9 out of 10 off of Decibel. And let's see, Sputnik Music gave it like a 4.5.
All right.
So it's people don't hate it.
Yeah.
It's usually regarded as like the third favorite in most rankings of like Ghost albums amongst the fans. I checked Reddit and a bunch of other sites.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, listen, it's a great source for opinions.
It's true. One cannot deny.
If you want opinions, Reddit's got them. But yeah, I personally, so this is I'll give a little bit of a spoiler with like my overall thoughts. I was kind of explaining to AJ, like, this, in my opinion, is not the best Ghost album by any means.
Yeah.
I think it being like the third up on the list is very valid. However, and even though I don't think it's the best production wise, it has a soft spot in my heart because, well, one, I listened to all their discography like front to back, like beginning to current. And it's been cool to see how they've evolved. And this album, in comparison even to like their next album, like after this, I feel like they progressed so much. But this weird like crunchy sort of like spooky tone, like something about it, I'm like, this is such a fucking like Halloween album.
It is.
This is like Halloween like mosh pit album. You know what I mean? Not like rave.
No.
Not like rave. We should describe albums in terms of like the type of
gathering.
Like the gathering is like rave is like sort of a more mixed control. Mosh pit's just like you know what I mean? Like with a lot of like fun production, like
and stinky like, smells.
Yeah, and stinky. You can kind of smell this album a little bit. It does talk about smell in one of the best songs on here. Smells of dead human sacrifices.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I personally like this album, but it might not, in terms of objective ranking, it might not reflect that.
That's okay.
So I just wanted to preface that beforehand.
Understandable. But thank you for making that clear, man.
Shall we dive into it?
I think that's a good idea. So this album opens up with Deus Culpa, or God's Fault. And it is a very cool way to introduce the album. It's this nice kind of organ piece that slowly gets more corrupted and distorted as it goes on, playing in reverse. This is going to be like kind of a pull reference. Have you ever watched Steven Universe?
Of course.
Do you know the episode, I think it's in season 2, when they go to the kindergarten and they find all the gem shards?
Yep.
Yeah, it reminds me of that exact scene, that instrumental.
Yeah, no, I love the production choice of like reversing the organ because an organ is like a weird thing because like it's like a very gothic instrument. Yeah. But it's also like, at least a church organ, I mean, but it's also supposed to like represent like ethereal, like, forces in nature and stuff like that. So I think it's like interesting how like, and what I mean by that is like in like the church, typically like the Catholic Church or Christian, whatever. Typically they use organs for like the sounds of the angels and all that shit, right? So I think it's interesting how this band frames themselves as like a clergy.
That like is kind of cool.
An anti-church. It's the nuance. You see, like this album is very crunchy, but some of the lyrical, some of it's insanely on the nose, which I'll get to in a little bit. And that is somewhat to their detriment. But later on, as they find their sound, it's a nice way to frame it. They're like an anti-clergy. They're popes. They're called papas. Yeah. This is the reign of Papa number 1. And then every few albums, a new one is introduced. I prefer Papa number 3. That's the Meliora era. Gotcha. Which fucks
and there's
so
Papa
hard.
Number 5, a little bit of Monica.
We're actually at number 4, AJ. Keep up, please. Actually, it goes from Papa number 3, then Cardinal Copia, and then Cardinal Copia becomes Papa number 4. Okay. And then there's Papa Knell. Who,
no one talks about Papa Knell.
He plays the saxophone. He's an old man who plays the saxophone.
So I didn't know there was like lore to this.
Oh, there's a ton of lore to Ghost.
Damn.
And it's really fascinating.
Okay.
One last thing, and then I promise we'll get to the album. They have like a PR person. Her name is Sister Imperator, and she is like, or Imperator. I don't fucking know. I read it as Imperator. But anyway. She will usually handle all like the PR announcements and like say like, oh, concert here, merch now, like all that in their Instagram updates. So it's fun. They have a lot of lore and they've accumulated quite a diverse fan base.
Yeah, they're pretty accessible for a metal band, which is cool.
And that's what I like about them. But as we were saying with Deus Culpa, I think it's pretty cool how they're framing themselves as like this anti-Christian clergy because their whole band is a criticism on religion. That's like the big thing. So for people who are healing from religious trauma, they're a great palatable doom rock, dance rock, and like satanic rock.
Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
Like they're perfect for that, especially if you want to heal from religious trauma. So I think that's why I personally like them a lot.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, I didn't even like know about like the religious side of things. So hearing that kind of framework on just the intro track alone is really fucking cool.
It's a cool little nuance, especially since like it's a reversed organ. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
I love that. Trying to play that in like the real time must have sucked ass. Could you imagine? Because I think they slowed it down too.
I think so.
But it's a nice way to sort of make a little bit of like a pseudo opener before this next one, Con Clave Con Dio.
Yeah, this is a cool like official start to the album. The opera singers, man, they get me. I love their voices.
It's such a weird like collection of like instrument setup too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because opera and like, you know, like choruses, they're typically associated with like, again, the heavens angels.
Exactly.
But we're singing about how Satan is about to like, you know, emerge from the depths.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of dope.
It's cool. And like hearing the organ like combined with like the metal guitars and like just hearing like shriek over that is just so cool.
It is. They make a lot of really cool choices. But in my opinion, this is one of my least favorites.
That's fair.
Like, I like the way they slip into Latin randomly throughout this song, though. They do that with a few other ones, but this one, I forget what Con Clave Con Dio means.
I don't know.
I should probably look that up.
We'll be right back.
And we're back.
Hey.
So according to a lot of Redditors, because I follow the Ghost Reddit, because they have a lot of information, and they're very helpful in like trying to get the lore really fast.
Okay.
Plus, they're willing to answer questions, which is nice. I've utilized them a lot for questions.
That's cool.
But conclave is a common heretical is a common heretical phrase when referring to the church, or at least it was, and it literally means with nails, but it's translated as with spite and sounds quite close to conclave, which is the body of cardinals that picks the popes. The implication is that the pope is picked with spite towards who they don't really know. I can take a guess, but like, but yeah, there's like a whole like category page based off of like all the Latin translations.
Yeah.
Because what's nice about this band is that they're very accessible for people who are not Satanists, but also the people who do identify as Satanists. They're very, they at least are following the guidelines. But overall, they're just a critique of organized religion, especially Christianity in general.
Which based.
We
appreciate that here, the family album.
We talked about religious trauma before.
We did.
I think that was in Elizabeth's episode?
That was in Elizabeth's episode.
Yeah. Look at me. I listen. But yeah. Anyway, AJ, what else did you think about Con Clave Con Dio?
I will say the Latin does add like a nice kind of personality flair, helps it separate it from like its contemporaries and just like other people that are in the genre. I like the spoken word section in there. It's pretty neat as well.
It's funny. I actually don't like a lot of the spoken word sections in this album.
Okay, I feel like
this is the better one though.
Yes.
Later down the line,
there's a really bad one.
Our Father.
Yeah, that one is very bad.
It's so on the nose, but hey, you gotta appreciate it for what it's worth.
First album, they were swinging for the fences. I respect it.
Plus, it shows that they're at least allowed to be. But I think that was intentional. I feel like they're trying to be silly with it. But yeah, no, I think like this one is not, probably one of my least favorites, but it grew on me upon this re-listen because it's not on my playlist because I have a Ghost playlist.
Gotcha.
Sorry, guys.
I am Mr. Playlist. Well, that's what they call me.
The harmonies at the beginning of each verse, it's just so nice.
Yeah.
Something about it, I'm like, God
those
damn.
are very cool. I also think the guitar solo is really cool on this track.
So many of them on here are like really
great.
nice. The drums remind me of The Grobe by Ween.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot. I also like the fade out. I think the fade out was nice.
Neat fade out. Anything else about Con Clave Con Dio?
No, because I'm really excited to talk about this next one.
So am I. This is probably my favorite track on the album.
Dude, it's same. It's pretty much the reason why I chose this album to bring, because this is one of like 4 of my favorite tracks.
Nice.
And that would be track number 3, Ritual.
Yeah, this track fucks.
It's so fucking good. It's the best guitars on the entire record. I listen to this song all of the time. It's just so catchy.
It is. Ghost does do a very good job of combining like metal elements with like pop structures, and I feel like the guitars here definitely mirror that, especially in that intro opener. It sounds so clean. Yeah.
Like, oh God.
then when it picks back up.
Tonight we. That's how I always picture him. He has his hands up like tonight, like we're whispering. He's whispering into my poor,
my little baby ears,
my apostolite ears. The chorus is just so fucking good.
The chorus rips. I love the vocals, just the vocal delivery, and just
smells of dead human sacrifice. Oh, so good. Tobias Forge is a really good singer and a really good front man. Look up some of their. Sorry, I just hit my laptop with my wrist. Look up some of their live performances, like of this song and honestly any of their songs.
I would be definitely interested to like see some of their later work because the production on here is not the best.
No, I would definitely agree with that, especially in comparison to like later on.
Because it does have kind of a charm to it, but it's very kind of like muddy and like a little soft. And like nothing, it's not as punchy as one might say.
Whoever that is. But anyway.
Fucking hate that
guy. No, like the fact that the lead singer produced it himself.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But you can also kind of tell.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gene Walker, whoever the fuck you are.
Wherever he is.
That's the name of Papa number 1, I guess. Gene Walker, because they're just referred to as Papas.
Papa Gene.
Papa Gene. Oh, man. But his delivery is so good. This is the one, like, this is the Halloween fucking,
yes.
Hex Girls, like that's what I love about this album. It just reminds me of like the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo, like in terms of their vibe.
Yeah,
just a sort of like grim, like you know what I mean? Like,
did you ever like when you were a kid? Did your parents ever buy you like a Halloween album, like a Halloween soundtrack album?
No.
Okay, you're missing out. But like it basically was like a compilation of like Christmas songs, but like Halloween stuff. So it was like the Monster Mash, like Purple People Eater, the Addams Family.
Yeah,
it was like shit you'd find at like the dollar store, and I could see this fitting in right with those greats.
But it's perfect.
Exactly.
This is the Our Father one.
It is
Our Father. I think they like. Hopefully that was intentional for being ironic. So corny.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they are critiquing organized religion a lot. Like a lot. That's like their whole motif. And sometimes it works. Here it's a little bit cringy.
Yeah.
I like the drums like Our Father who art in hell. That's so funny.
I know, it's so dumb.
So who art in hell. Oh man!
But at least the music is good. The music, like itself, makes up for that one little part.
Like the freaking like the ending, the guitars are going like like oh my god,
it's great,
so good. Their guitarist is so good. Another thing about I promise I'll stop rambling.
You're good. I was seeing if I had anything on my other side of my notes.
I just got like a lot to say about the band in general because like I dove so hard into their lore over the summer. The way that they kind of present themselves, and the reason why I did not mention a lot of like the band members besides Tobias Forge is because all of the members besides Tobias are nameless and faceless ghouls that go by fake names.
That's cool.
And the names change depending on the era of the Papa that is in charge.
Damn.
So they currently have, I think they have like currently like 7 or 8 members.
Okay.
Like that they've accumulated down the line. They end up getting female singers like later down the line.
Cool.
Which is really cool. But their guitarist, I think, has been there since the very beginning, from what I know. AJ, I apologize if I'm wrong.
Oh shit! Marker. Editing AJ. That's a marker.
But there are videos of the current guitarist from Ghost, at least, being he shreds so hard, and like me, he's an eczema sufferer on his hands.
Okay.
So when he shreds, his hands start to bleed open. And he uses a white guitar.
That's dope
so
as
that
fuck.
it smears like all over his guitar, and there's a video of him just like absolutely shredding
and smearing,
and it's crazy. Like it's wild. Ghost TikTok is fucking amazing, but the Reddit is surprisingly wholesome. I will say I like it a lot. But Ritual, it fucks.
Yeah, Ritual does fuck,
and their guitarist is amazing.
Hell yeah. It is kind of cool how just like metal communities for such like an abrasive and aggressive genre are just like the nicest people.
For sure.
It's awesome.
I think it's a catharsis, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's like a feeling of acceptance.
It's a feeling of acceptance, and I also think like metal is a very like cathartic genre of like screaming, you know what I mean? And like, you know, we're talking about these insanely like violent things.
Yeah.
So that that way they purge all that out during these little sessions of listening or going to concerts or just listening, or I don't know, doing whatever to to that music. And then that way they kind of are able to be calmer. 95% of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find a lot of metal and especially Ghost to be very cathartic. So yeah.
Tight. Next up we have Elizabeth. This one is also very cool.
I like this one. This is the single off of the album, by the way. I don't know why they didn't choose Ritual. It's the catchiest one out of all of them. But I do. This is my second favorite song on the record. I love this song a lot. I love the way he describes her.
Yeah.
Like, you're still alive, Elizabeth. I don't know. I always imagine him like whispering, you're still alive.
I think it's the production.
Probably. He has such a weirdly like soft, like sweet voice.
It's a very interesting, non-traditionally like metal vocal. It's smoother, like in comparison to an album that we will be discussing in a couple weeks with Tom's episode.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, but what's cool about like Tobias's voice is that he's also low key. He's not really a chameleon voice, but the way he's able to like do stuff like. He's like a good vocalist. He's got a lot of power. Like he may sing sweetly on this album for the most part, but later on he just like
goes off.
He can do some pretty fucking cool things. The one song that I love his vocals on is Kaisarion off of Impera.
Okay.
That's not a song that's on Impera. That was my thinking music. That was just what like.
I'm glad you have your own theme music that follows you around. Matt just has a full band.
They appear like, all right, guys, you can go home. Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve Howe, for making it for my thinking music. Oh my God,
Steve Howe! I saw you in 2018. Holy shit.
What else about Elizabeth? Elizabeth.
I like just like the delivery of the lyrics is really fun. Just it's so satisfying. Yeah. There's a really cool instrumental break in here that I like a lot. The sound shift on the chorus that has like the backup vocals I really like a lot as well.
Oh, for sure.
And I just like how like just light it sounds for such like a not like intense song, but just like what's it, like evil subject matter. It's cool. It's a cool juxtaposition.
I think one thing that I love about this song that you can kind of apply to the rest of the album too is that it matches what you're seeing on the cover.
Yeah.
Like in the castle, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, by the way, the guy, if you want to look at the guy who with his arms up on the cover.
The guy has a Funko Pop of him.
That is Papa number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Each one pretty much has like their face on it, especially 1 and 2 have like a Papa's face on it.
Okay.
And then the rest of them sort of kind of do, but it gets interesting later on.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I like Elizabeth. I like how it's just kind of like the dun 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 like in the verses, but then like Elizabeth.
Yeah,
like,
it's cool like how they're able to transition from like this more crunchy riff to just like this clean sound during the chorus. I like that they do that on like a couple songs. It's neat.
And the guitar solos on this one too. Yeah. Like, oh my God.
They're good.
Amazing. I love the way he says you're still alive. Oh, and the organ. Oh my fucking God.
Organs always fuck on this project too.
So such a great like auxiliary like chorus instrument to use here. It really fills up the space so well and it really sets like an atmosphere.
Yeah. Next up we have another favorite of mine. I really like the song Stand By Him.
This is the one it's the night of the witch.
Oh, I fucking love that line so much.
I also like how there's no like pickup into the chorus either. It just kind of goes into Night of the Witch, like straight into it. It's very clunky, but at the same time, like, oh my God, the vocal harmony is so good.
I love it.
This one, Elizabeth, and then Ritual, these are like my favorites off of them.
I would agree.
They're the catchiest. They kind of have the dance rock like feel to them. And they're just so like spooky and Halloween. Like, oh, so good. Man. The hook is so fire.
It really is. Oh my God, that chorus is phenomenal. I love it.
It really, really is.
I will say the intro guitar riff sounds like a little bit like Beat It.
Yeah, I can see that a lot.
Which I was kind of like, oh shit, beat it ass guitar riff.
Beat it type beat. Beat it type beat it. No, it's this is like my third favorite out of all of them because Ritual's my first, then literally back to back to back. Like I'll get into at the end in terms of pacing.
Yeah.
That's because that's probably one of the only issues I have with this album.
That's fair.
But yeah, no, it's so good. Like it's my third favorite for a reason, but it's still pretty fucking good. You just
man.
you can't help but bob your head to it.
Yeah, dude, the organs especially. Like, after the what is it? The fuck did I write? The organ break after woman insatiable lyric is very do-come. And doomcore, maybe I was trying to write.
Oh, you do come for sure.
When you listen to Ghost.
That's true. We haven't even got to the one that mentions sex yet.
Yeah. Can't wait for that one. But now Stand By Him is a great one. I'd say it's probably my second favorite.
Okay.
Elizabeth under that, but
gotcha.
I love that chorus so fucking much.
It is. It's catchy as fuck.
Yeah, man. That outro rips really fucking. I love it.
Oh my god. I would listen to this like during my job in one earbud, and I'd be like, Night of the Witch. Just like putting stuff on shelves
in rhythm.
My boss would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
And then you look at him, your eyes go black, and go, "Night of the Witch,
our Father, who art in hell." Oh man! All right, shall I move on to number 6, Satan Prayer? To be honest with you, it's not one of my favorites, and I feel like this one's a bit corny.
Yeah.
Like we get it. You hate religion. We get it.
Yeah, a lot of the subtlety is non-existent on this album, which I feel like is a selling point to some, but for like a casual listener, it's kind of like, all right.
It's like, all right, we get the point. We get the point.
That I will also say is kind of a big flaw with this album, is that just like, you do get it after a certain point, and even though it is short, at a certain point, you're kind of like, all right, like, let's wrap this up.
There are definitely some tracks that are better in the 30 minutes, the 33 minutes, excuse me, than others, for sure. Especially since 34 minutes and 41 seconds.
Jesus, man.
I said at the beginning of the episode.
And this guy uses the ghost ray.
I'm gonna get excommunicated from the clergy. Or no, technically I'm a ghoul. I'm technically a ghoul.
A ghoul. A gabagool.
Dude, that's fucking epic, man.
It's fun. It's a fun band.
I wish I could be a ghoul.
You can.
In real life.
Oh, never mind.
The science isn't there yet.
All right, scientists, get on that ghoul tech. Come on,
Human to ghoul transition.
Let's go, Congress. Anyway, I don't know why I just felt... Anyway.
The ghoul bills are not passing.
Oh, my fucking God. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites. Like, the one after this, in my opinion, I love so much more. But, yeah, I don't know. Fair. This is kind of a space filler.
I really like the drums on this track, though.
Yeah, okay, I will give you that.
Yeah, the drums I really enjoyed. The beat, like, at the beginning, like, I don't really know, I don't remember. But there's, like, a part where they add in, like, 16th note hi-hats, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's fucking tight. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really high highs on this album, I would say. Yeah. But I feel like after the 3-track run, it's just
hard to live up to that.
It really is, and it's not so much the track's fault. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just really hard to live up to those 3 dance rock fucking bangers.
Yeah. I will say the chorus on this track sounds kind of out of place. It just sounds different, and it doesn't like fit the tone.
Yeah, that's the other thing I kind of said. It just kind of feels like they just injected like a chorus in there.
I said it feels kind of proggy with the organ, but it doesn't match the other organ, so it just sounds out of place.
A little. Mm-hmm. I can definitely see that. Shall we keep going?
I think that's a good idea.
So this one is my 4th favorite track, actually. Death Knell. This is the one that's like 666, that one, and then it goes sex, sex, sex.
Masterful lyricism.
And then it spells SATAN. Yeah, Satan.
Man, Ghost is goofy.
Da, da, da. That one. I don't know. Hey, it's catchy. I actually like this one. This is my 4th favorite track on the album for sure.
I feel like here's kind of where it hit my fatigue a little bit.
All right.
With the album.
At least it's close to the end.
Yeah.
More because like tracks 8 and 9 kind of go together. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like I do like this one. There are a lot of nuances on this track that I really appreciate. I love how the song, like, there'll be moments where it gets kind of quiet and then like with the instrumental, and then it picks back up again with the sex, sex. You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
You know the fucking, you've seen Bob's Burgers, right? Yeah. You know Mickey, the health inspector? Because I'm good at sex, 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 sex. Like,
I'm good at sex, you're bad at sex. Daddy,
you are my enemy. Hey, I'm only singing. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I fucking love that show so much. Teddy is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Teddy's great.
Imagine Teddy singing
Sex.
Bobby, hey Bobby, sex.
I hear this band called Ghosts. I'm a ghoul, Bobby.
I'm a ghoul, Bob. Oh man, but this is my fourth favorite track. I love like the nuances with like the volume.
Yeah.
The chorus, honestly, I like it. Like even though it's different every single time with the da da da, like every single time, I feel like I like it. I like how they change it up.
Yeah, it's fair. I really like the bass line on this track specifically. I feel like here it really stood out, which I enjoyed.
I will say one other critique now that you're bringing that up. I feel like this album's bass is not great.
Yes.
Especially for like 2010. Like it gets a bit better later on, I would say, like especially with production.
Okay.
But I like later on production wise with the later records, it gets better. But I feel like the bass is a little lacking on this record as a whole.
Definitely.
Which thank you for bringing that up because honestly, like as I'm thinking about it, because this is the first one that I was like, yeah, I agree with the bass. But then at the same time,
we haven't brought it up at all.
It's like
since,
where the fuck was it ever
in the past 5 tracks?
Nothing else I really got to say about it. You know, just more Satan, more sex, more sex.
So is it about fucking Satan?
Maybe.
Okay. Who's to say, really?
Who's to say?
If you haven't tried the death knell, then don't talk to me.
Exactly. We have the death knell and the death swell. No!
That's good.
The amount of references that we have made in like the last 6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes. Anyway.
That's good. That's good.
Shall we move on to Prime Mover?
I think we can Prime Mover right along.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I don't like this track like at all.
Yeah, the filth in her womb lyric, that kind of took me out of it a little bit. That was icky.
It's not on my playlist, and it also is just boring to me as a whole. Like, I'll listen to it if like I like to listen through the album, but there are definitely ones like as a whole, but there are definitely ones on here that I don't have.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I like it all as like one giant thing, but I definitely like was picking and choosing a lot of stuff to put in my playlist.
I gotcha.
So I really don't have like anything to say about this track whatsoever.
They bring up the word cloister.
They do,
and I immediately thought of Pokemon.
Yeah,
which is bad.
That's not great. Tom's having too much of an effect on you.
That's true, dude. I'm becoming just like it's bad, man.
This is bad.
I'm regressing.
It's not good. Pretty soon, AJ's gonna prefer Starbomb over In the Court of the Crimson King.
Can you imagine that,
dude? That was awful. There's a parallel universe where like Tom's actually like really in touch with the music scene, and he's trying to convince.
Tom loves albums.
No, Tom is actually the fucking in charge of the podcast, and then you're the guest in the universe.
Damn. That would be
awful.
That's terrifying. That's my nightmare.
I really don't have a lot to say about Prime Mover.
Not really. A lot of triplets, which I jotted down. I was like, oh, that's a fun feel musically. Starts off in the right channel. I was like, whoa, right channel.
Shout out to the right channel.
Shout out to the right channel real quick.
Shout out to panning right, guys. This is pretty tight. Anything else to say about it?
One of my notes says the bloodline of the Gargunga Bog, and I don't know what that's in relation to.
Oh, fuck. Wait, do you think there's like a hierarchy of the Gargunga Bogs?
Maybe. Oh, dude, like it's like the royal family or something.
Oh, there's like a king
yes.
Gargunga Bog?
Yes, or like maybe, and there's like the Earl of Gargunga and the Lord of Bog.
One day the two families joined together in an act of heresy.
Thus the Gargunga Bogs were born.
Hear ye. Gargunga.
If you don't know what the Gargunga Bogs are, check out episode 5 or 4 or some shit like that. I don't know.
That's like early fucking family album lore.
We just go in the wiki, actually. We
about them. Sorry. I didn't expect the wiki to make a reappearance in this episode. Oh man. But yeah, no, this one, in my opinion, it's just
weird.
padding out for time.
Yeah.
But it does transition very well into the final track, which is an instrumental that, in my opinion, really fucks, and it really grew on me.
It's cool.
I like it.
This one's called Genesis.
I know why AJ likes it.
I did write a Genesis joke in my notes.
Oh, may I hear it?
I swear to God, Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins better show up, or so help me Satan.
They died for this.
Exactly.
Oh man. It's a good outro, honestly. And I love how it just sort of like, it ends up, I think it ends back on the organ again, right?
I believe it does.
Yeah, no, at least it ends on like this sort of like really like nice.
Yeah, it's very pleasant at the end. It has like an acoustic guitar break in there too, which I was like, holy shit, whoa, this is like such a nice change of pace.
It is. Yeah. And again, their sense of nuance in terms of their bookends, it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
Started off with the organ and then it finished with the organ and stuff like that. So yeah, honestly, I like this one. I like this more than Prime Mover.
That's fair. This also does it does have closer energy. Like it just has like a sense of finality when it's done, even though there aren't any vocals, which is cool.
Yeah, I like it. I think they bookended this album pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, I mean, hey, in terms of instruments, ladies and gentlemen, blah, 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 guitar, drums.
Bass is not existent.
No bass whatsoever. And then organ.
Yeah.
But again, it's pretty consistent compared to the other instrumentals and all that stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a good closer. And I feel like it bookends the album well, as I've said now for the third time. I'm just trying to drive the point home.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that'll bring us to our final thoughts then.
AJ, I'm going to switch it up. What did you think of this album?
I thought for a debut album, it was solid enough. I think it's a very cool, like more modern metal album, kind of again, combining elements of pop and also metal, so it's more accessible. The thematic like elements and just like the lore, I think actually made me appreciate this album a little more. Because when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is just really fucking edgy and like lame. But then I'm like, okay, they have a point to it, so it's cool.
You should really look into it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to sort of deep dive in. There's a great little informational video about the lore of Ghost, and it goes up to, I think, before the reign of Papa number 4.
Okay.
I'll send it to you later.
I'll have to check that out because the fact that you can become a ghoul is very intriguing to me, and I would like to further research that.
Dude, they were in Camden, and I was so fucking upset that I couldn't go see them.
Damn.
That's my state, man.
You can see the Jersey Devil too.
I'm like living on a prayer. Sorry.
Great show.
Shout out to What We Do in the Shadows, which is literally one of my favorite shows, which tracks considering I listen to this shit.
That's true. And Matt Berry.
Oh, dude, we got to talk about Matt Berry at some point.
I'm down to bring on Witch Hazel.
Witch Hazel is so... I re-listened to it the other day, and so low.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my fucking God. It sounds like this like way better version of the song, Jerk It Out. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds just like it. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, so good. So good.
Well, that'll be a future episode. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Anyway, back to Ghost.
Tell me more what your overall thoughts were.
Flaws of the album, at points the lyricism is very on the nose.
It is.
You just can't take it as seriously, which I think is kind of the point.
It is, but for people who, I can see people not getting into it as much.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a deterrent.
If you never really had religious trauma, you might not. No, I'm kidding. But I definitely can see that for sure as I paid attention more to the lyrics this time. And I think a lot of the times people don't really pay attention to that because of just how fucking catchy some of these songs are.
You should be focused more so on like just the experience as a whole rather than like what they're saying, I guess.
And that's pretty much how I feel about the album too. Like I feel like I can just listen to this album like at any point and just like, put it on. But there are definitely some songs that are way better than others.
Yeah.
But I like it overall as like an album. If you want some background noise as you're doing something in the spooky season.
Exactly.
So
like the instrumentals are definitely the highlight on here. Specific shout outs to the organs, the drums, and the guitars. Like they always kill it.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's pretty good.
Thanks, man. I will say, even though it is 30 minutes, there are points where you can feel every minute of certain tracks. And I feel like it could be a little more risk-takey, like try more ideas, because some of it does feel very samey on certain tracks. And the production is definitely an issue, but that's when they were just starting out, so it's forgiven. So
Plus, they didn't have a proper producer, so I mean, I can kind of forget
Gene
that.
Walkman, he didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Pacing is also something I would say is a bit of an issue on this because like we kind of mentioned before.
I'd say like from the intro to Stand By Him, great. Really good run. And then after that, it's kind of sloppy.
I would kind of say tracks 3 to like 5 are the high points of this album. And then Death Knell. And then honestly...
Genesis.
Yeah. So I feel like the pacing's a bit choppy in terms of that. I feel like I'm interjecting my final thoughts into your final thoughts.
Well, if you honestly, we can. How about I'll save my ratings? You go your final thoughts, and we'll say it together.
Okay. The weird thing about this album is that I only genuinely listen to 4 out of the 9 songs, and I find the other ones to be kind of repetitive and a little boring. However, it's probably my favorite album by them to listen to in full.
Interesting.
Because like the other ones, like they have a lot more songs on them, especially since a lot of the ones available on Spotify are like extended editions. So I find that I'm really picking and choosing a lot from those, and I don't really listen to all those back to back. Like when I listen to Ghost, I like to pick and choose overall a lot of my favorite songs and like have a giant playlist of all the ones that I love.
Yeah.
But this is, even though like it is choppy in its pacing and it's not the most interesting, in terms of just the crunchy, spooky vibe, Halloween mosh pit, man.
Yeah, dude.
Something about it. I'm like, this is kind of fucking fun. I like it. I could honestly listen to this album front to back several times over. You know, I mean, the lyrics are whatever.
Yeah.
But the instrumental is just fun. Like,
Yeah, there's a nice like theme to it, a nice vibe.
yeah, a nice like crunchy vibe. The not so good production almost makes it like kind of like better.
Yeah, there's a charm to it.
Because, I mean, hey, it is metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll keep going, though. It embodies Halloween, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Just the night of the witch. Like, oh, man, I would love to do, like, a short film or something to that. I also love how it goes into all sorts of rock with, like, the synths and the organs and all that. And when it dips into dance rock, I feel like that's where they really found their audience. Because later on, there are dance rock songs that happen on their like later albums that are fucking amazing.
Nice.
Dance Macabre is one of the best Ghost songs of all time.
That's tight.
Should I make a tier list?
Sure.
I should make a fucking tier list of all my favorite Ghost songs. Okay,
Stay tuned, family.
Stay
heads.
tuned. Maybe Instagram content.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, guys. Please let me know. All right, let us know if you want Instagram content, because I kind of want to do some.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You know what I
down.
mean?
Let's do it.
I'd be totally down, or even just some short
Question
YouTube,
of the week. That'll be. Do you want to see Instagram?
some short little like, or even just short YouTube videos. Not
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts. We're not fucking around with YouTube Shorts. Okay.
No. No way. No.
No. But anyway, when it dips into other types of rock, like, you know, the heavy metal, the doom metal, hard rock, psychedelic.
Yeah.
I feel like calling this album like psychedelic is a little bit of a stretch.
On certain like sections of songs, sure, but not as a whole thing.
But like prog rock, without a doubt, it's a great prog rock scene, this record. And I'd say like, dance rock. Like, oh my God.
Biggin.
Like I see a lot of like Strokes inspiration.
Yeah.
Like with the beat, with the drums, and like they knew what they were doing, honestly. But I digress. It's the guitar solos and the instrumentation. Even though the production gets better on the albums later on, I feel like the really good songs on this, it's just not as nearly iconic later down the line as like Elizabeth, Ritual.
Yeah.
And like
Stand By Him.
Yeah, just something about those three. I get just like this rush of serotonin whenever I listen to them.
They're
I just want to
great.
get up and dance.
It's macabre.
Dance macabre. It's their magnum opus eponymous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're doing. Man.
No, it's like a Wheel of Fortune mashup again.
I have just one thing to say to you.
But I like this album. It's the foundation that they started upon, and they made like this satanic anti-religion album that's very surprisingly palatable.
Yeah.
And I feel like it gets more and more palatable later down the line. But the fact they're able to do that
On their first try.
and they had a pretty decent following. They ended up blowing up at one point, especially after Mariana.
Yeah.
I do love that song. I don't know why I'm making a face at AJ as I sing. I love that song. That's probably gonna be my top, to be honest with you. It's so catchy.
Nice.
But anyway, I appreciate this album the most, and I like how they get flashier later on, but I will always have a soft spot for this album for just the spooky vibes it encapsulates, and some of the lyrics, especially from like Elizabeth still in the castle. Just something about that, it works. But it may not be reflected that much in my rating. Objectively, I'd probably have to give this like a 7.3,
Yeah.
and then like B tier.
Yeah.
Low B.
I'm feeling the same. Like I'm gonna say solid B tier.
It's not their best objectively, but it's probably my favorite album to listen to in full.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then some of the ones on here are like my top 10 overall favorite songs by
Yeah.
Ghost. So,
Well, Matt, thank you for bringing it on the show. It was cool to revisit this album in a more detailed way rather than just passively listening to it at work.
I'm very glad to hear.
Yeah. But as we know, family heads, we always talk about 2 albums on this particular format. So the album I brought was Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo. So Matt, what did you think?
Of course, I'll save my
Detailed
thoughts till like the very end because I wrote a lot. So here's one thing. AJ has been kind of talking in my ear about Oingo Boingo for like the longest time. Because
have I?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing whatsoever.
It's an intervention.
Because
I keep talking about Oingo Boingo.
He just fucking won't stop. He went to a concert and he collected Danny Elfman's sweat and actually like injected it into his veins.
It's funny you mention that because there's an Oingo Boingo song called Sweat. Like actually.
I see. Yeah. I see. I think they're a pretty good band, definitely. But we always talk about them in the context of like the more experimental bands like Ween and like
Devo. They would definitely fit with them.
I wrote about Devo in my notes too. But we talk about them in terms of that with experimentation, and in that regard, I felt like they fell a little flat in comparison.
Okay.
Considering we always talked about them in the capacity of experiment.
Those titans. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, which they're definitely in that zone. Without a doubt, they are in that zone. However, I don't think I like this album as much as I wanted to.
Okay. That's fair.
For what it's worth, though, there are some killer instrumentals on here, which I am so happy to get into soon.
All right.
Or I guess right now. I don't know why I said soon. We're actually going to do 15 minutes of dead silence, and then we'll get into it.
Yep, starting now. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your penance. Anyway, Oingo Boingo is a band that released the album Dead Man's Party, which was released October 28th, 1985 on MCA Records. And it is the 4th/5th studio album of quirky new wave band Oingo Boingo. It's considered the 4th or 5th because Danny Elfman's solo album...
And the minor fall and the major lift, right?
What?
You know, hallelujah. It goes like this, the 4th, the 5th. The minor
God
fall and the major lift.
Dude, that
Oingo Boingo. Sorry, my bad.
Dude, I was so confused.
I'm so sorry.
What the fuck are you talking
I'm
about?
so sorry. You said the 4th, the 5th,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, God damn it.
I have to.
Shrek, man. Like, come on.
Right, it is Shrek, or also Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Anyway, it's considered the 4th or 5th because Danny Elfman's solo album came out after Oingo Boingo's, it's either Good for Your Soul or Nothing to Fear, and they kind of consider that canon to Oingo Boingo because it had like the original band members play like with his album, so it's either 4th or 5th,
okay,
depending on if you include that. It is often regarded as one of, if not their best albums, due to its stacked lineup of some of the band's most iconic songs, as well as the spooky Halloween feel that is present throughout, and its hit factor. Because a bunch of these songs are very popular. Yeah.
I mean, favorite era of music.
Yeah.
In terms of like decade, 80s, you can't go
Classic.
wrong. Just Another Day did end up on my mega 80s playlist because I have a 9-hour 80s playlist.
Damn.
That I add every popular 80s song that I like and every like deep cut one that I like from artists. I just like the sheer novelty of having it because it's 9 hours.
80 songs rule.
They fucking do.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the best eras of rock.
And pop.
Yeah. For real. But Just Another Day and Dead Man's Party did make it on to my 80s playlist.
Hell yeah.
So
I guess speaking of which, let's just dive right in. Starting with Just Another Day.
Very fucking good opener.
I adore this song.
It's an amazing power pop like intro. I feel like I needed to like, I don't know, off the top of my head, I feel like I needed to work out to this song almost. You know what I mean? Like it's so upbeat. I feel like I need to watch like semi-pro Let's Get Sweaty edition or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I know exactly what you mean. You know, every great film should have a Let's Get Sweaty edition. I cannot wait to see the Citizen Kane cut of Let's Get Sweaty Citizen Kane cut.
Charlie, I'm getting sweaty. So I'll let you in on a little secret, audience. We helped out a friend with a little video project, and they did a movie ranking that was fucking abysmal.
Dude, it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
And that was, I think, like, what, 4th or 5th on the list?
That was 5th. That was in his top 5.
Yeah.
It was Semi-Pro starring Will Ferrell.
I'd never even fucking heard of that movie
Neither have
until that moment.
Just for all their context, number 10 was The Greatest Showman, and number 3 was The Santa Claus 2. So you could see what kind of person we were dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, I digress. This is a very, very good intro. I love the upbeat nature of this album as a whole, I'd say.
It's spooky in a different way, kind of like Halloween Party rather than like macabre, like Ghost, which I like a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think what I also like about it dips into ska like a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it dips into ska like later down the line of like this record.
Yeah.
But more talking about like this opening track.
I love the kalimba. Like, that's present throughout. It's so fucking nice.
It's very nice pitched percussion.
Yeah.
And they're very good at the kalimba too. Like, holy shit. Like, they're playing that shit fast. I don't know how they did that. Now, the guy's vocals, is it Danny Elfman?
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's like such a good vocalist.
I know.
He's Oogie Boogie in fucking Nightmare Before Christmas. And when he did it live,
oh shit.
He did a live rendition of it for one of like the anniversary shows or something in Disney or whatever.
That's cool.
And Billie Eilish, I think, played Sally or something like that. But no, like, oh my God, he did it live and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Was he in full costume?
It was kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it was pretty tight.
Nice.
He was not in full costume. He was dressed in this really awesome looking suit.
That's
But he's
cool.
also Jack Skellington.
Oh, yeah. He's with the singing voice, right?
He's both Skellington and Oogie Boogie.
Not voice acting, right? Just the singer.
We'll be right back. Okay, so actually a little correction, it looks like.
Okay.
He was the singing voice for Jack Skellington, but I don't think he sung as Oogie Boogie in the movie.
Oh.
I think possibly Ken Page did.
Okay. I don't know who that is. Any relation to Ken Kniff?
No, unfortunately. He did die, so...
Rest in peace, Ken Kniff.
No, Ken Page, AJ.
Oh, thank God Ken's still with us.
I can hear him right now. Yeah. Sorry, give me one more second, AJ.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, he did sing Oogie Boogie's song, but
Okay.
Danny Elfman sang it in a live
Gotcha.
thing for it.
He was not the singing voice in the movie.
But he was the singing voice for Jack Skellington.
Yes.
He's a very fucking talented vocalist. Kind of a chameleon vocalist almost.
Yeah. And
Sort of, kind of.
And like a chameleon like musician. He composed he's for all like Tim Burton shit.
He's one of the best composers of all time.
Yeah.
Arguably. For all of us freaks who love all the, the spooky kids movies.
Exactly.
Dude, Corpse Bride.
I've never seen it.
Dude, you're missing out. It's probably one of the best ones, in my opinion.
I'll have to check it out.
It has piano in it.
Oh my God. Nothing has piano in it.
It's
That's fucking crazy, dude.
it's all I ever wanted.
Anyway, just another day.
Yeah.
Fucking love the song. The keys in the intro are so fucking nice. Just like the accents.
The mini guitar bits in the middle and like of each verse, they're so good, and the hook is just amazing.
I love the lyric. There's a place in the stars for when you get old. I don't know why that feels like really comforting for some reason.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It is. There's a very oddly charming and comforting feel with this album, despite it being spooky. But
the song is cool because it's about like social anxiety too. It's about just like fear of the outside world, but like knowing you have to adapt to it, or else like you're just gonna be alone forever. It's cool.
Interesting. Shall we continue? Because I feel like I took too much time to talk about this first track.
That's okay.
The next track would be the title track, Dead Man's Party.
I think this one earns title track privileges.
Oh my God, yeah, it fits. And the bass line on this.
Oh yeah.
After listening to Opus Eponymous and like having the lack of bass, the bass lines all across the album, but especially here, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It rips.
I love this track's usage of auxiliary percussion.
Yeah, dude.
Especially with whatever like is tapping and like the upper left and right, like it's like a glass thing or something like that.
Maybe it's bottles.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like that. Like I wrote down bottle taps because I couldn't think of like any other way to describe it. But I enjoy this a lot, and I love the mixing.
Yeah.
The mixing across this album is very, very
It's so
good.
clean.
It is.
Fuck it. Like I love the intro too with like the muffled guitars before it comes in with like the sounds of doo doo doo, and then like everything else comes in with Danny's vocals. Just a very nice build up.
Very nice build up indeed.
And I also like this is like the most Halloweeny song on here. You know, going to a party where no one's still alive.
For all of us Halloweenies out here.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. I like it. I feel like this song, I should be in a high school having the vice principal chase me around because I am not in the library when I have detention in the library.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Okay.
That took me a second, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then if I'm like the one character, he'll threaten to fight me in a custodian's closet.
Exactly. Vice Principal Crubs.
I'm trying to make a reference to the Breakfast Club for those who probably did not get my reference because I executed that very poorly.
I thought you were talking about Ned's Declassified for a second.
You know what? Why didn't they do a Breakfast Club like episode?
That's a good point.
That would have been perfect.
Maybe they thought it was too cliche for Ned's Declassified.
So they gave it to Victorious instead.
Yeah, that was a bad choice.
Are you a vegan? Jesus Christ. But anyway, this is a good track.
It is.
It very much earns the title track, like, stamp of approval.
I love how just all the horn sections just all across this album are fucking phenomenal, but here especially I love I think it's either before or after the chorus. It's so satisfying.
Are they real horns or synthetic?
They're real.
Oh, okay, cool.
I actually wrote down the names of some of the players.
Oh, would you like to share some of them?
We have Leon Schneiderman on baritone and alto sax, Sam Phipps on tenor sax, and Dale Turner on trumpet and trombone.
You said tenor sax? I thought you said tender sax.
They are pretty tender.
Dude, I'd love to have some tender sax if you know what I mean.
This album.
Sorry, pinnacle of sex, Matt Glass
That
over
is
here.
true. Sex icon.
Oh wait, that was a Maggie's episode? So
Yeah.
okay,
They'll understand.
okay. I had to make sure
It's on the wiki.
That's not the fucking wiki. Okay,
I'm going to abuse that so often.
God damn it! Someone's gonna actually make a wiki of this now.
Exactly.
If we're lucky.
And I can't wait.
Oh man. But anyway, Dead Man's Party. I enjoyed it.
Great track.
I really, really enjoyed it a
I
lot.
love it. Next up, we have Heard Somebody Cry. This track grew on me a lot, and I really fucking like it.
Oh man, the harmony on the lyrics. I am not a ghost without a soul.
My God.
Something about that. I was like, I just felt that so fucking much.
As they're complemented by just like the accented tom hits. Oh, it's so fucking nice. I love like the distinct sound too between the verses and the chorus, how different they sound.
Yeah, like it's so this song is so unique.
Yeah.
On this album. Like I also love how chord structure wise it changes keys a bit in the chorus.
Yeah.
Like something about that I'm like, this is really, really nice.
I know.
And those horns.
The horns are
My God.
incredible.
And the guitar. Oh my goodness.
I also just like how crunchy the keys sound. It's so 80s, and I love that.
It is. And I think across the board, it is one of the highlights, it being a product of the 80s.
Yeah.
And somewhat one of its detriments, if you want me to be honest with you.
Okay.
But like overall, though, when it works, it really does work,
Yeah.
I will say.
There are moments I can't see that. But dude, it has marimba on this track too.
It does
During
have
the
marimba.
fucking the chorus is so fucking good on this track. I love it.
It is. It's a very, very solid track. Honestly, the first three tracks are fucking solid.
Yeah, really good run.
Pretty good pacing overall, I would say. Anything else to say about number 3?
Nice guitar solo after the first chorus. The guitars like all across the board are very good here as well, but here especially they stand out. But yeah, other than that, I think it's just a very good track.
Let's move on to No One Lives Forever. This is the one that I was talking has like a bit of ska in it.
Yeah, definitely. With all the fucking upbeat emphasis.
I am not the biggest fan of the speak singing style
Agreed.
as a whole. Like that, I don't really like. I like it better than spoken word. It's no Our Father, if you know what I mean. But who art in hell?
This song to me feels kind of like Haunted Mansion core. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like ghosts, like goofy mascot ghosts
When the
singing to
crypt
you.
door creak and the tombstones quake,
Exactly.
spooks come out for a singing wake. I love that song. Grim Grinning Ghosts, for those who don't know what it's called.
Triple G.
Yes, true. Yo, it's Triple G.
My head's in a box.
No one lives forever.
Speaking of which, that fucking violin.
Oh my
ooh,
God.
That's so tight.
There's like this moment, I think it's a little bit after the 3-minute mark, where they're just like wailing in harmony, and I just kind of went like, oh, like
Yeah,
an
dude.
eargasm of some kind, I think. Like, oh my God, so fucking good. And then like the vocal chorus when it's the hour of the wolf and I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Such an epic fucking lyric.
I
Like,
know.
oh my God. It's so good.
It's cool in the way he uses his like Halloween like influences, because it's not like it's not like taking it super seriously, but it's very like respectful to Halloween lore, which I think is really cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's something to really be admired on this record. One thing, here's another note that I have about like an all across the board thing with this record. I love the percussive nature of this album because like you kind of get a lot of stuff with like the auxiliary percussion and like the second one, I believe is what I said with the bottle taps. But then like you got this like muted guitar picking thing happening in like the left and right upper like ear channels. And like, oh my God, I was like, damn, this is really cool. A lot of layers.
Just the way it's produced is just so like engaging. Like you can always like pick out something new every time you listen to it, which I love.
It sets a vibe that like is very like different.
Yeah.
From just a lot of stuff that I've heard before.
Very boingo.
One might say.
Yes. Also, is there like a sitar towards the end?
It sounded like there was some sort of like weirdly like legato string instrument thing, but it sounded plucked. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, the boing, 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 boing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I wonder if they got a sitar player if that was just like a synthesized like thing.
Maybe.
Do you know how fucking hard it is to play sitar?
I can imagine.
Especially that fast.
As someone who can't play any stringed instrument.
I wish I could fucking play sitar. It's so weird because like with a guitar, the action is like so much lower on it.
Yeah.
Because like that's like the height or whatever above like the neck and the bridge and stuff like that. But with a sitar, it's like so elevated of an action. It's like higher than like a cello, I'm pretty sure, which is wild.
Big fucking neck.
It's yeah, big fucking neck if you ask me. But it's too big for my taste. Sorry, I don't know why that just made me laugh. But anyway, shall we continue?
Sure.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't have a lot to say about this one.
About Stay.
I got kind of bored with this song just a little bit.
This song is really repetitive. I think the choruses are definitely like the strongest part about it. Because the verses essentially just repeat the "this is not a."
Anyway.
Yeah. I think, again, the choruses are definitely the strongest part. This is one of their more popular songs, which I'm kind of perplexed by.
I can kind of see that. Like, if you're looking at a standpoint of someone who wants like a bit more of a regularly paced song,
I guess, yeah.
I can definitely, especially 80s.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for like just basic 80s music to listen to, I just feel like in relation to a lot of the other stuff, it feels like a little out of place for me.
Yeah.
Because it's just a bit too toned down.
That's fair.
So I will say the background synth is very, very nice, though. It's very, very nice.
And as always, the horns kill it.
Of course.
Whenever they're around. But it just got, again, boring track.
Just don't have a lot to say about it, unfortunately.
Yeah. But from there, we move on to, I think, one of the more underrated tracks. We got Fool's Paradise.
Again, I love what's happening instrumentally here, but the speak singing, I just get like a little bit weary of it.
Okay.
There's like, it's not as much here.
No.
Like as the other one that I mentioned.
Forever.
Yeah. It's not as much here. But then when he sings, it's just so good. I don't like the speak singing aspect. There's something like, it's only specifically like 80s speak singing. Cause like a lot of these like more sort of flashy speak singers, like if we're looking like David Byrne, Talking Heads kind of deal, like that's only tolerable for me in like in
small doses.
Yeah. Okay. But I feel like this one is at least a bit better.
Yeah, it's not super it feels more like singing than on No One Lives Forever, but because I think it's just kind of like how spaced out it is.
The guitar is on this one is really good. I really like the guitar on this.
They fucking shred on this track.
For sure. And like the delivery of It's Just a Fool's Paradise.
Yeah.
Good. Just really, really good. I don't know if I have a ton more to say about it, but I did appreciate it more than the fifth, I will say.
I agree. It definitely is better than Stay. I personally really like this track. I like the drums a lot. They really like go hard on this song. The bass line is really fun. And yeah, I kind of like Danny Elfman's vocal delivery on this track. It's different than the rest, but I can see why you wouldn't like it, just in comparison to his actual singing.
Like I said, the speak singing on this one, I don't love speak singing like generally, but it's definitely better than No One Lives Forever. No One Lives Forever.
Yeah.
I confused the title of that one with the famous Queen song, Who Wants to Live Forever?
That's a cool mashup.
That'd be a weird one.
Do it, family heads.
Yeah, someone out there.
Send it to us.
But anyway, shall we keep going?
Let's go. I think this is another pretty underrated track, Help Me.
Good one. I like this one a lot. The synth and the drums at one point kind of like sync up like with the chorus.
You wanna help?
It's so good.
That part really reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show for some reason.
Well, which one? Would you say like Hot Patootie?
A little bit, yeah.
Or did you have like another one in mind?
Just the vibe of the song is like, oh, I could see this like on the soundtrack. That's like what I was kind of like picturing.
Bro, we gotta find a fucking like live showing reenactment. Like I would go to that. Like I would go. I would be so excited to go to something like that.
I'll do some research, see if there's any around, because it is October, so screenings are going to be very, very limited soon.
I mean, I'm looking for our fun October activity to sort of prove that this month was not wasted.
Yeah.
But and I was thinking about maybe doing like a haunted hayride type thing and asking people yet again if they'd like to go, but nobody wants to go with me. So
Damn,
like,
that's lame.
Yeah, it's whatever. But I feel like though our fun Halloween activity. Y'all will see our fun Halloween activity pretty soon.
Which will air on Halloween.
Which is a very fun coincidence.
I know, I'm excited for
not
that.
that kind of fun, Nate. Get the fuck out of here.
Damn it!
For the love of God, I gotta get that grease trap.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Should keep them in place.
Anyway.
The bass line on this song fucking rips.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like a city pop song, and I was like, damn, I fuck with this.
And then, oh my God, the saxophone?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who'd you say that was again?
Well, is this the tenor or the baritone / alto?
Sorry, the tender sax,
The tender
actually.
sax. Oh, well, the tender sax was done by Sam Phipps.
I think this might actually be, yeah, I think that sounds like a tenor sax, I think, from what I recall.
I don't know pitch because I'm tone deaf.
Well, regardless of what sax it was some pretty good sax. If I do say so myself. I can't believe we made the same fucking joke twice in this episode.
We're running out of ideas, guys.
Yeah, please help me, if you will.
Help.
Oh man, the drums on the chorus in like the third time around when they do like that. Wow, I really fucked that up. I can't play like when they do that.
Yeah, the 16th note build up.
I tried to do that with my mouth and it did not work.
It was cool. It was neat. I think they'll appreciate that.
I don't think they will.
Guys, in the poll this week, did you appreciate Matt's attempt at 16th note build up with his mouth?
I gotta refresh my knowledge of making mouth instrument like imitations.
Yeah, because if you oh, that's right. Yeah, you lost your ability during the great magic hex of 2023.
You're right. I gotta get it back, guys.
That's right. That'll be in the works.
Oh man, I'm glad this song isn't too long because I definitely feel like if it was a little bit longer, I would have not liked it as much.
That's fair. I guess like the pacing is kind of weird on this album because it's not super consistent. Like it doesn't like some songs don't really like fit with each other. It sounds more of like a collection of songs at points rather than a cohesive album. But I think I still like every song on here.
No, and I definitely see why. Like it's a pretty good album. I just think I hyped it up too much in my mind.
Yeah.
To like really like, because we always talked about it in the context of like
Ween and
with the experimental like music.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe if you listen to some of their earlier albums, because this is a lot more tame. Like Danny Elfman has said he's not a huge fan of this album and also the closing track, just because it's a lot more mainstream. It's a lot more accessible to audiences. But if you listen to like their debut or like Good for Your Soul, it's like a lot more quirky and a lot more aggressive.
Yeah. I gotcha. Shall we keep going?
Yeah. So this is the penultimate track. The same man I was before. This one's okay. It's very goofy. If you ever heard of the band Talk Talk, it really reminds me of like their early work.
I'll have to check them out as a reference. The beginning, I wrote down, "Oh AJ, I think we're alone now," because it reminded me of that like opening, like kind of like feel. My fatigue is definitely reached at this point.
Gotcha.
It's definitely by like the penultimate track that I'm really feeling like my fatigue is getting like really reached.
Yeah.
With like the bow kind of like in the, like the right and left. Reminds me of like the Rugrats theme song, like you know, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha.
But I mean, it's a pretty good, and I love the backing vocals in the back end of the
chorus.
Yeah,
yeah, those are nice.
End of the track, like it's pretty good. I just think at this point I was like getting a little bit like a little tired. Out. Yeah. You say elfed out.
I think the chorus on the song is pretty good. I just like 2 by 2, like it's just really satisfying, and the verses are kind of weird. Just like the like the holding like a note before saying the rest of it. And then the bow bow break. It's just it's goofy, but I like it.
Bow bow break. That's like the same energy as like Moo Moo Meadows or like something like that. Like bow bow break.
Anything else about Same Man I Was Before?
Not really. I guess we better get to the final track.
Yep, the last track, one of the most famous Oingo Boingo songs.
Okay.
Weird Science was the. I'm a fucking idiot. What do you call that? The theme song of the movie of the same name by John Hughes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can understand why Danny Elfman does not like this song because it says nothing at all. It's just naming like different science fiction like items. It's just goofy.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they reference Frankenstein with the she's alive, he's alive, something like that. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Microchips and weird science.
Oh man, I kind of thought the first thing that came to my mind was with the title Weird Science. It sounds like someone tried to make like a weird sequel to like Strange Magic by Electric Light Orchestra. Oh man, I'm on to you, Mr. Boingo.
Mr. Boingo. Please call me Oingo. Mr. Boingo is my father.
Please, Oingo. The guitar again on this one is still pretty good, even though it's not Danny's favorite.
The bass line is great on this track as well.
I was literally about to say that too. The bass line is so fucking good.
Oh, the fucking trumpets. The ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, fucking love it. I really like the song a lot.
I feel like it goes on a little bit too long for me. I agree. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it is 6 minutes.
Hey, I can forgive a long outro.
Yeah.
I can, like, if it's an outro, I can forgive it. An intro might be kind of a toss-up.
That's fair.
To be honest with you, Meatloaf. But anyway, honestly though, I think it's a pretty good closer.
Yeah,
for the most part.
It's definitely iconic and like very 80s. Like I feel like this is kind of like, I wouldn't say a staple 80s song, but it's iconic of that era.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would agree.
And there's a lot of fun instrumentals, really cool sections, even though Danny Elfman's just naming just science equipment. It's just a goofy song, but I like it.
Shall we get to the final thoughts?
I think it's a good idea.
Can I ask a question before we do?
No.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I thought no, I'm kidding.
What's up?
So what were the singles off of this track or off of this record? Do you know offhand?
I believe Dead Man's Party was definitely one.
I would imagine.
I think Stay was also one.
Okay.
And it might have been Just Another Day, but I don't think that's right. Give me 1 second. Weird Science.
Okay. That makes sense.
Oh, Just Another Day. It was Weird Science, Just Another Day, Dead Man's Party, and Stay.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to go first with yours or should I go first?
Matt, take it away.
Alrighty. So the record is like I mentioned before, I kind of hyped this record up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that is what kind of ruined like me wholeheartedly going into this album, like, through and through. I was kind of expecting like almost Ween level of like experimentation.
Yeah.
Because we always talked about it in the context of Ween, but I kind of got more of like the Cars.
Okay.
Which isn't bad, but I think my preconceived notions of what I thought this album was going to be kind of ruined me like really liking this album like a lot. But from what it's worth though, it's still fairly solid. And also if you want to sprinkle in a little bit of Talking Heads, I can hear you could definitely hear that too. I think there's a lot of great material here. I love like the power pop beats that are going on, and then like like it keeps the album from feeling too like dry. I enjoy the percussive nature of this album, like I said before. I will say one of the drawbacks of this album is that it feels a bit too much like a product of the 80s.
Okay.
Which stops it for me for feeling like timeless.
Gotcha.
Which is, it's hard to do. That's a really hard thing to do. But instrumentally, this album is fantastic. Like all of the musicians on this album, and Danny Elfman's voice is just like insane. They all just do such a good job. I enjoyed the work on the guitars, the drums, the vocals, the bass. One last thing I'll say about it is that I feel like one of the biggest things with this album that I did not like is that the verses felt a little bit too flat, but then like it's really hook happy, which if you want to combat that, it's the same with Opus Eponymous in many aspects. So I can definitely see that as a counter argument as well. But like, to be fair, but like, I think for me though, that's kind of where like, That's like really one of the only critiques I have of it.
I gotcha.
I do think the album is still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, like they definitely are like accomplished musicians. Like, are they like studio musicians?
I don't know. That's a good question for editing me.
Because honestly, I'd believe it.
Yeah, I can definitely see it.
I think they're definitely almost on the same. No, not almost. I think they're like on the same level as
Steely
like
Dan
and like Toto in terms of their studio musicianship. But yeah, no, I think it's. I did generally enjoy the album, and I'd probably give it like a 7.7. I think out of 10.
Yeah,
like a little bit higher than Opus Eponymous because of the variety.
Yeah.
And like it is enjoyable.
Production
yeah,
is
and
better,
production
yeah.
like way better.
Yeah.
Maybe like 7.8.
Okay.
So
understandable.
And then god, there's the letter part. I forgot about that. Probably still same though. B tier.
B tier. Okay.
Yeah. I'd probably say I like production wise.
Yeah.
Or not production wise. Sorry. I'm really struggling. I don't know what's going on here.
It's okay, man. You're just Sam Phipps, man. just in your head.
Just Sam Phipps. No, but I'd probably say like in terms of enjoyment too, I'd say like, yeah,
B tier.
Low, like high B.
All right. Well, fair enough. I respect that. I think personally, I don't mind that it's so 80s. Like, I feel like just in concept and just sound alone, it kind of stands the test of time. It's my favorite Oingo Boingo album. Their older stuff is fun too, but I don't think as consistent. And some of it is just like a little too out there for my liking. But I adore this album. The musicianship is incredible. Danny Elfman's hooks and choruses are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like they like Jesus Christ, Heard Somebody Cry. Like I love that chorus so much. I love just like the overall vibe and like the consistent use of Halloween and just like spooky motifs. I feel like it works really well, especially on tracks like the title track and to an extent Weird Science. Even though it's just such a nothing song, I love it. And yeah, like each musician brings their A game. It's just a fun time. You could throw it on a Halloween party and people will have a good time. So I would give this probably like an A-, I think.
I could see that. I could see why, honestly.
And I believe that does it for this first episode of our Halloween block. I think this was a pretty good one to start out with.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we both kind of captured the spooky vibe like well enough for sure. And guys, check out these albums. They're pretty fun.
They're good.
They're both very fun, very different journeys from one another. But Oingo Boingo and Ghost are pretty good like spooky season bands to sort of get into. So I definitely recommend. Look, just honestly though, if you're going to do Ghost, just go to the This Is Ghost page on Spotify if you don't want to listen to a full album. But hey, honestly,
I would recommend starting with this for Oingo Boingo and then easing your way into the others.
But yeah, I think this is the end.
This is the last episode of the
family. Yeah, we're ending in October. No, we're not.
But yes, it is the end of the episode, and what a great ending that was. As always, I'm your host AJ Sonari,
and I'm Matt Glass.
Thank you for always listening. We will see you next week.
Peace.